What, how, I thought I'm gonna just fire it right out. I thought the poetry was really nice. You guys did a stunning job organizing it.
Thank you.
I thought
It was so fun.
yeah, and it really helped the Conservation Commission get some needed visibility in the community. It was a lot of, I was surprised at how many people were there outside the local group. It
great.
was really nice,
Really nice
Yeah.
to see
you know,
people.
and
Yeah.
I hope we do it again.
Me too.
You're here.
Sorry.
Oh, you look good. How are you feeling? We're online, so,
Okay, it's all right.
Okay.
okay, good. Yeah, we just started the meeting, called it to order a few seconds ago, and we were
Have a
talking
message.
about the poetry event and how well it went.
I'm glad we had the kids too, definitely.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, always, yeah.
in the library, the library was great. I mean,
Mhm.
having the assistance from
Julia?
Julia, yeah.
Right.
And good call on moving it to the amphitheater.
Yeah,
because
it's true.
Yeah.
At first I was thinking, oh, it's, what are you better up on the hill? But then,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
No, it's
sprinkling
cozy.
almost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very inspiring at that amphitheater.
Yeah.
Yeah, good
Right.
acoustics too. That's
Yeah.
what everybody says.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right.
Oh.
And then you went to Augusta. How was that?
Oh, yeah.
It was good. It was
You
me.
were the only one?
Yes.
What do you mean?
I would have loved to gone, but
It was also pouring that day. It was really pouring.
It
rain,
was
but-
lousy,
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
But
Oh, man.
it was interesting. It's Governor Mills spoke.
Oh, that's
Oh.
great. She didn't speak when I've gone.
Yeah, but you're not going to believe what happened. She started out making this speech about the connection between poetry and saving trees.
really.
No way. Were you like, hi?
But I was
agree.
there by myself.
That's really
I was sitting
nice.
next to this.
Yeah.
I was at a table with these foresters, and they were kind of poetry. You could see they were like that kind of
Oh.
stuff.
She's a poet.
And did she pull it together? I mean, like, what did she do? Say a
She
poem?
just mentioned yes, she read a short poem. Because she loves poetry anyway, but she was just saying how, it's rooted in local place and, just all these great analogies. I wish I
Yeah.
could get a copy of what she said because it was pretty much most of what she said. And then they gave an award out to like the best tree farm. But it was very inspiring.
Huh.
And then they gave out the awards. So we have this one. I don't know if the town wants to
Yeah, we should
frame
put
it
that.
because they get lost, right?
Yeah,
And then I got a little, what do you call it? When you go to the Oscars, you get a little packet of stuff.
Oh.
I got all this, what do you call
Swag.
it? Swag.
right, yeah.
And this could go up in the town too, right?
Yeah, in the
Up
office, that'd
Oh,
nice.
for
That'd be
sure.
awesome.
Them already, maybe if
Fantastic.
they're worn.
I think
out,
it should
maybe
be
they-
enlarged.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
put-
Yeah, because I don't think there's not anything up there in.
In the town
In
I
office?
the
think I've
town
seen one or,
office?
no, up on the street, I think one or two places I've
Oh,
seen.
okay.
Something somewhere. I
Yeah.
walked by,
Out
like in
on
a
52,
window.
I think, up near the
Yeah.
cemetery.
And then this, I'm not sure what this is. We're in the 27th year, right? I was going to use it as
Sounds
a
right.
bumper sticker, but I thought it'd be a little weird, right? What is that?
Yeah,
mean?
I'd put
27th year?
I'd just put it underneath, I'd put it underneath the Tree City.
You
Like
could put
that?
that on the back of your car.
I know.
It'd be
I
cool.
wish I was 27 years. That's what I don't know. That looks weird with that though, doesn't it?
That's kind of like,
Anyway, and then this,
Huh.
which I think maybe is a stand or something
Show and tell.
Oh, like for a
for the,
plaque?
I don't know if you frame that,
Oh, okay.
I think. I don't know.
Does it have what is
we
that?
could hang that in the town office. or
Yeah,
something.
so does
I'll-
anybody have a use for this? It's like
What is
some
that?
kind of stand for,
Yeah.
What
I
is
don't
it?
know. I don't know. I'll pass it around. And if you want,
So you
put this
a
on
screw
your
on the
bumper
wall and put it
sticker.
in there and slide it up and it just hangs there like that.
anyway.
I
But
just-
this, I'll just, should I go to the front office and ask them about putting the
I
certificate?
kind of like Brian's idea that I think we should enlarge it and maybe
Yes.
have it, like, make it into a little sign that you, like, maybe by, open early, open late there.
That's
you know,
strange.
Something that just says, welcome to.
Yeah.
can-
mean, like,
Make our own
I
version.
wonder if we couldn't make some like signs out on the street, right?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
that'd
it.
be-
Like laminated or something?
Yeah, and
It seems
can-
like they wanted to give you an award to put in this stand. but
Yeah,
They
it's
it was
forgot.
actually,
That's
it
it?
was to Samantha. So I don't know what the deal was with it.
Because
I'm
that's
sure you're heard it.
pretty
You're heard
clearly a thing.
now.
It's pretty
I
clearly.
don't know if
a
you've ever
thing.
thought about
So,
changing your name.
I'll take care of that. I'll frame that. If you want
Anyway, I'll
to
pass these
Yes,
around.
give that to me and I'll take it
Will they
home
fit in
and
there? What is- what
frame
are
it
these
and then-
guys,
I'm pretty
though?
sure
Maybe
there's
this
one of
makes-
these up near the.
Well, maybe we should ask them.
Cemetery.
Oh, okay.
Is there?
I think so.
No, we could have this.
That one could go right over if the one
It's a
up there is
piece of
all
wood,
damaged,
which
but I don't know
is
what the-
made of
We should
from a
put that
But it
in
tree.
looks, but it looks like
Right.
there's supposed to be little plaques here or something.
Yeah, or like
I like that one.
stickers, you know.
So do you want to,
Yeah, but
I don't know.
why don't you and I figure that out?
Okay,
All right,
that sounds
because
good.
I can frame it or I can frame
But
that.
Kathy, maybe your connection at this Arbor Day place can you explain what this was for? So
Yeah.
we're using it properly? I mean, because I'm thinking that's how you hang it on the wall, and then these little squares
Yeah.
get some
Oh,
kind
right.
of little,
Like something that,
Oh.
like this.
like a little metal point that says, you
Oh,
know.
you're
when-
right.
One for 25 years and one for.
Oh,
I think
right.
Steve's right.
Just-
On the wall
just
this
guessing.
way, right?
Oh, that's a good guess. Okay.
Hangs a long way, right? Like,
That's what I would say.
yeah, that's what I would say too.
Maybe something like that.
So
whatever.
I'll take this and put it in a frame,
Okay.
all right?
And then we'll put it in the town office?
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'll work with you on that.
Okay.
I'm not gonna go rogue on you or anything and go like,
No,
I'm just kidding.
no, because the
It was a
last couple of
joke.
ones disappeared, right? Or they haven't.
I don't know. I don't think we
Yes,
have,
Oh,
we haven't got
Nancy
it.
took them.
yeah, and it belongs to the town.
This is great.
I know, last time we got a really big one.
So was it in the barn there at the
Yes,
Wiles?
yeah. And I think it was a full house.
It's
And
a nice facility. And
Yeah.
it's too bad it was raining so bad because
yeah,
it's a really nice area to walk around and it's got some really lovely, gorgeous trees.
yeah. And they were supposed to go out and
Yeah,
dedicate a tree to
good point.
Governor
I forgot
Mills,
about that.
but it was boring, so. But it was nice. It was like,
Well, I
our
try to
poster was
remember.
up, which I should get that.
Allison
and-
and Dave aren't here, so we're,
Anyway, so I'm glad, it's good that, I think we're one of the older tree cities. There's like 5 that are, Farmington's like
Yeah.
number 1.
They should have their stripes ripped off their coats because they've cut down so many trees in Farmington in the last 25 years.
Really?
Really?
Because of
Unbelievable. The
the-
big ones, you
the-
know, like the big.
In the town itself?
In the town, downtown area. And
Uh, I noticed that that's not a very popular topic to bring up of people cutting down trees, because I was trying to talk to the foresters and they just changed the subject really quickly.
Really?
So,
you mean,
What?
forest?
yeah, they were
Just
just
didn't
like,
wanna
they were
cut-
more interested. They just asked about brown. They asked about brown ash, which I mentioned the program here, and they said brown tail moth wasn't bad this year, but I think it's because of the zoning stuff. And there was, and Saco and Farmington are the only, I should have brought my notes, the only towns that have zoning ordinance about trees that are on private property, cutting them down. You have to go through some kind of process,
No, no,
especially older
The
trees.
right of way, but
Not the right of way,
Huh.
but on private property.
that's interesting.
So I was thinking of asking the guy from, I think it was Farmington. He was like the tree warden there, what the ordinance was and the procedure for it. So,
whatever it is, it didn't have a positive impact on what
Huh.
they do downtown.
right.
Because
And
in front of
anyway,
the courthouse.
it's a good meeting to see what's going on in other places. And,
Mhm.
um,
How much better we're doing than them.
yeah, and also it was nice to not feel like the poetry thing was completely like the oddball
Yeah.
out because Janet Mills, I didn't actually get a chance, she left, but I didn't get a chance to say, that's what we did. So maybe we should maybe send her our stuff, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just
sure.
say, you love poems and we did this, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a great idea.
Yeah.
That is a great
I wonder
idea.
if I didn't see her at the Camden Poetry Festival,
Huh.
but, I wouldn't be surprised if she.
Yeah, because
Looked in
she's
on that,
really, she's
maybe.
really into poetry anyway. So,
I mean, I guess, so one thing we talked about was just maybe expanding a little bit next year. And I have some of the future stuff written down that we talked about, but
Doing it again, poetry.
Yeah.
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 I
Well,
mean,
I think I think the length of it was just about right.
Yeah.
You don't want to go,
I don't mean expanding as in making
Make
it
longer.
longer. I mean, like, maybe there are partnerships to,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, things
partners
like
to
that.
engage with.
Programmatic.
Yeah.
better
it's-
advertise it or something.
It was
Yeah.
a great start though for the first one.
You know, and
Yeah.
part of the things too is like May is a really busy time for families and stuff like that.
Right.
To get any people with kids is like, as you guys, you all know. I mean, maybe I
Right.
don't know Stephen, kids or not, but May is just a crazy time with kids and schools, things and.
Yeah, but
recitals
on the
and-
other hand,
Yeah.
it's the annual poetry
And it's just
festival
when we
here.
have to have it. I mean, April and May.
Right.
No, I mean, it
And it's
goes
the-
well with
the
the
Arbor
poetry
Day
festival.
week too,
Yeah.
which is, it was tied into the state thing.
Mhm.
Maybe we could think about having it on a Saturday though.
I agree with that. Or
That
having
would be-
something on a Saturday.
That would be wise.
Then you could have more kids and their families.
Yeah,
and stuff, I
totally.
think.
At least the ones who aren't in sports.
Oh, right.
They all have games on Saturday
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Or
or practices.
There's just more of a chance. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like if you have,
Should try it anyway.
yeah. Once you get the kids, then you get the parents.
It's true.
That's a
We have to show
truth.
up.
That's a truth.
Yeah.
In the most loving way.
And we didn't have enough time to really develop like more connections with schools too. So this time we can.
Yeah, right.
Lots of good stuff.
That makes sense. Okay, good. And then as Cynthia pointed out, we haven't approved the minutes from the last meeting. Have you guys had a chance to look at them? Do you have any feedback? I did. They look fine to me. I mean, they're great. But I didn't know if anybody else, because I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes
I
from the
second
last.
it.
Okay, we good with that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Since we don't have Allison here or Dave, I
It's gonna be a
guess,
short meeting.
well, yeah, I actually have some pretty good stuff to
We're
talk.
unsupervised.
What's that?
We're gonna be unsupervised today.
I don't know about that, but
Wait, let me just reshare my news, because Barb wasn't here yet, and I don't know if Samantha was, that the select board, were you watching the meeting last night? They,
Last night, no. I haven't watched
okay,
it.
they passed the Sagamore Farm buyout.
Yeah.
How are they
Was
funding
the
it?
contingency actually there? I couldn't
It's
tell.
with
How
the
are
co-
they funding
It's
it?
with,
Contingency of inspection approval. of
right,
inspection.
but do you remember what the fund was that they were getting it from? Audra had?
Well, they had a guy who would charge like 100 and.
No, the fund, they were
Oh.
getting the 203,000.
Some energy fund, energy. of
Yeah.
some kind.
well, that makes sense.
Well, that's where it should come from. It shouldn't be coming from the Emerald Ash Board fund,
$203,000 plus a little more.
because the Emerald Ash Board can't wait.
That's kind of a no-brainer decision. The ROI is really compelling, so.
Mhm.
Well, that's good. That means the work, well, you guys, who Cynthia and Camden can put into it
Mhm.
was well worth it, right?
Yep, and we're moving on toward trying to quickly get started on developing more solar,
Right,
because there's a possibility of federal 1/3 off of any new green energy
is it tax
infrastructure,
credit or is
but
it-
it's a direct pay because there's no taxes for a municipality, right? So it's direct pay, 30%, but you
Mhm.
have to start it within 60 days of the budget bill passing and complete it by 2028. It's like, it's all
So is it a
ridiculous. So
state
it's
thing
a
or
long
a-
shot. Huh?
It's a state thing?
This is federal. This is from the Inflation
Federal?
Reduction Act that's being
Geez, that's impressive.
systematically repealed,
Huh.
quite deliberately repealed by this budget bill right now. So if anybody cares about any kind of green energy tax incentives, call the senators and tell them to try to somehow rescue green energy tax incentives, because the rest of the bill is a total gift to the fossil fuel industry, and really sets back all prospects for addressing global warming through our federal policy.
Got it. All right. Good. So we're going to move to the EAB discussion. Is that all right with you folks?
Yes, please.
All right. So I was feeling like really confused and antsy about this. And I have to say, I'm feeling much better and somewhat optimistic about it. And the reason is that I met with Shane Hendrick. Do you know who Shane is?
Oh, you already met with them?
I actually met with him live. He came over to
Oh.
my house.
Oh, cool.
Came over yesterday.
What's his company called?
Tree Works. I called them last week, and he's a wealth of information. It's just a real can-do person, a thrill to talk to, but he's very into the whole EAB, hemlock woolly adelgid, all that stuff. He's a very qualified licensed pesticide applicator by the state. He's recommended on the Maine Department of Forestry or whatever it is website as a resource. So we talked about the situation in Camden, that we don't have a programmatic approach or a preparedness plan, right, that we need. And he knew about that, the ash study that Louisa Crane did.
Mhm.
He knows all about that. And he actually suggested, it turns out that it's complicated, as you can imagine. The whole process of protecting trees that you select to be protected, it's more complicated than just injecting those trees with some kind of a systemic pesticide, because there needs to be, depending on the condition of the tree, and obviously all this stuff really needs to be done right before the emerald ash borer invasion, is if the trees need to be pre-watered, sometimes they need to be pre-watered.
Oh, water. Okay.
Yes, to get the tree in a condition to take up the pesticide into the cambium and all the tissues of the tree to protect it. And then some cases, they need to be fertilized too, if they're in compromised situation or slightly compromised situation. And I really got the feeling that he's sincerely engaged as a community member, not just as a business person, and trying to help us figure out how to build a plan to deal with the onslaught, specifically in the village area, right? I mean, so what he suggested was that he said he'd be willing to take a day or two out of his schedule to dedicate exclusively to driving around and looking at the trees on the inventory, and with one of us.
You.
Okay, well, yeah, sure. And we'll make I told him the end game at this juncture is to put together a budget number for the select board to help them better understand what we're looking at as for costs. And he said that what we could do is drive around, look at, there's a lot of trees on that report, but there's probably 60 that would be considered, I forget exactly what the number was, specimen trees, that he said he could help identify what the needs were and what the potential costs would be to put together an EAB, a plan to treat the trees if we so decide to do that. In some towns, they actually cut down trees, which sounds awful, but it's a way of dealing with the, if you don't treat the tree, it's going to get emerald ash a borer.
And then others will get it too.
Yeah, and that becomes a
That's what's preventative then.
infestation that can then affect trees, desirable trees. So
Healthy trees,
what's that?
like healthy trees?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, I mean, so the worst thing you can do is nothing. The next worst thing you can do is you could just inoculate the good trees, but you got to figure out how to deal with the not good trees. For the trees that you don't, yeah, you want to save every tree. I get that, but we got to make some tough decisions, right? There may be some trees you decide to just take down because they'll harbor the emerald ash borer, which will make it worse on all
But
stress, all
there's-
the trees, right?
There's always going to be trees that are capable of harboring it because you can't go throughout the forest and kill every ash
No,
tree.
that's right, but you can,
So-
it turns, I mean, he knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, and probably most of us, is that it turns out there's a proximity of the trees, like there's a radius around the trees that is most vulnerable because the emerald ash borer doesn't travel very far once it settles in an area. And I'm not qualified to comment on all this. That's why we need a professional. And so you can create groves of trees which are protected. Some of them are inoculated, but they're far enough away from everybody else that they stand a good chance of surviving. And the end game is to allow the trees to reproduce in the hope that there'll be some genetic mutations that will be resistant to the emerald ash borer in the long run, like what happened with the elm trees, right?
Yeah.
So this is a very sophisticated process. Like I said, I'm not qualified. Shane is. I'm not qualified to comment on all this stuff, but
So, did he say a distance that it is capable of traveling? Like, here's the question, should we be scared that it's going to get here from Belfast? Or are you saying that it really only moves?
Well, if you
as
look
far
on
as
the
a
maps-
neighborhood?
Well, it's moving somehow.
okay, but if you
Well,
look
they
on,
say
up in Barn.
firewood. They claim that they determined it was from
Couldn't get
firewood.
blown by the wind up in higher atmospheres and settle
Well,
out.
that's the question then, because if
did
it
you read
can-
what Rebecca sent us? Did you have
I
a
didn't
chance to
see
look?
that.
What's that?
I didn't see.
I didn't see anything.
I thought she sent it to all of us.
Uh-uh.
There's a quarantine area. There's maps that are created. There's a map that by the Forestry Service, Maine, that specify what the next course of action would be. And if you look at the map, hang on, let me bring up the. It's important we talk about this stuff. I thought she sent it to everybody.
I just found it.
What's that?
She sent it to, I don't,
Whatever.
Molly, me.
Okay, sorry about that. I didn't realize. So I'll send it.
I'll forward it. I've never here.
Okay, if you can forward it.
Yeah.
So there's, and I don't know what the radius numbers are because I'm not an expert at this stuff. But what the state does is it updates this map constantly. And there's quarantine areas, which we're in. Quarantine areas are treated as where no ash wood moves in the whole quarantine area unless there's specific factors are met. And that's the quarantine to minimize the dispersion of the emerald ash borer insect, right? Then there's potential infected areas, and then there's infected areas. And there's radius, like Belfast is now an infected area. There's a potential infected radius around that, which the state says, and I don't know exactly what that is, I'm just talking. in which the state recommends that trees be treated. Then there's quarantine areas and the state recommends the trees don't be treated yet until they become potentially infected areas. And the state controls all this stuff, right? So,
My focus right now is the idea of prophylactic tree removal, because I think that has to be very carefully considered.
yeah, but I don't think I suggested we do prophylactic tree removal.
Oh, I thought you said one approach is to cut down a tree before it gets.
That's if you become a potentially infected area.
Oh.
Okay?
Which I thought
I
that was
think
what we
Bangor
were
is gonna
worried
cut
about.
down like 2/3 of the
No,
trees they got.
we're not in a
Save the other
potentially
third.
infected area yet. I made a bad assumption. I assumed you guys had that,
Well,
and I apologize for
oh,
that.
okay, yeah, we would be more.
Well, get it and read it, and then you'll know what I'm talking
Okay.
about. All right?
Good.
So if you're a potentially infected area, then you would proactively you would put together your preparedness plan and execute it, okay? Which includes inoculation, prophylactic removal of potential trees, yada, yada, yada. We're not there yet because we're in the area where, hang on.
Well, so I'm still worried about removing trees because if the decision was made based on, oh, it's going to cost a lot to remove that ash tree on Spring Street, wherever. So let's just cut it down so it doesn't get infected. Well,
Why would you do that?
that's prophylactic tree removal.
But we're not.
I'm saying if we were at that point
All right.
and we know that there's ash borer
But
in.
maybe we would decide not to do that because that's a specimen tree. That's the whole point of
Yeah.
identifying what specimen trees are, ones we don't want to remove.
Yeah.
But they need
I'm
to be.
just saying in any case.
Right.
There are going to be trees 300 yards away in somebody's grove or a piece of woods that are ash trees
Mhm.
that will still harbor emerald ash borer or host emerald ash borer. So it would have been fruitless to have cut down that tree. So
Well,
anyway,
look,
not worried about it now.
we're like talking about trees on the right of way, town property trees, right?
Mhm.
I don't know what, we need to discuss, if they're on private property,
Mhm.
there needs to be plans, but I mean, we have no control over trees in private property, right? We can make recommendations, at least I don't think we do. Does anybody think we do?
No.
No, all right, so if
I know
there's,
we don't have.
but we can make recommendations. We could offer a program at some reduced rate to help
Yeah.
have
That'd
trees.
be great. Could like, if
We
you
could-
come up with a plan.
Yeah,
could you
our
offer-
plan is around,
Could you offer it to all residents and publicize it?
that's what we need to discuss.
Yeah, I think, because I
Right.
think a lot of people don't even know about it. to
Right.
tell the truth.
And did
But-
he give you a ballpark of what a tree might cost to treat?
It's based on the diameter at breast height.
Okay.
So yes, he did, but you're looking at hundreds of dollars to treat a tree, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so.
Okay, I was worried it was thousands, so.
Well, the irony of it is, as we discussed yesterday, by the way, I asked him if he would mind coming to a meeting, and you can ask him all those kinds of questions if you want.
Yeah.
And get his thoughtful answers, but, because I don't have all the answers. I only had like a 15-minute conversation with him.
And what did he say about coming to a meeting?
He said, yes,
Okay.
he'd be happy to do that.
Great.
So it costs thousands of dollars to remove a big tree.
Oh, it does cost thousands.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 4,000. I mean, a tree, whether it's part of the tree removal process is cutting down the tree, but the wood, if the tree's infected, the wood needs to be disposed of properly in a log yard that's qualified to receive emerald ash borer infected wood. It needs to be burned. So it further increases the cost, right? It's a very complicated situation. So that's why it's better to make the decision to remove trees ahead of time or entreat the trees, but you can't just do nothing and hope, everything's gonna be fine, right?
Mhm.
You need to make conscious decisions.
Yeah.
right?
I believe Allison has said several times too that there would be funds for emerald ash borer.
Mhm.
I mean, am I misremembering that? I feel
But
like she
that's
said that
basically-
several
that's-
times.
Well, there's
The
a,
town is gonna do for trees in the town right away.
Okay.
yeah,
For the
It's not-
town.
It's not necessarily for people who just happen to have them in their yard.
Right. But for like the
Exactly.
village, for
Well,
village
that's
removal
why I-
or
You
treatment
know
or
what?
whatever.
That's why I was like, tried to put the brakes on the whole thing about using all the money for the tree fines, which we've been counting on for years for the
Right.
stone ash borer, all of a sudden have it be used for a totally different source, has nothing to do with the trees.
but that's why we have to get
But
some
they
numbers to the
apparently didn't
select
use
board,
that,
right?
so that's all I care about.
Yeah.
So if we stick with, for now, for the purposes of simplifying the discussion, if we stick with the trees that are on the report, right? On Louisa's report,
Mhm.
let's just stick with those for now, okay? We all good with that?
Yeah.
Otherwise, this whole thing gets hugely complicated and
Totally agree.
it's mind numbing. To me, it is.
Right,
I can't cope with the whole town. I can only cope with the piece to begin with.
right.
We also have to learn how to do this, and we have to use, we need a reasonable subset of trees to work with so we can figure out how we're gonna do it, what the costs are gonna be, what the issues are. Okay? We good with that?
Yeah, that
Mhm.
sounds great.
Does anybody know that anybody in the the Belfast Garden Club? Because they are apparently the only ones that are doing anything active in Belfast right now officially. They're doing an inventory, an ash tree inventory, but
I could find out.
could you, because I wrote to the president of it and haven't received any response, so,
Right.
um,
All right, so,
Brian, one thing, is it possible, while this process starts with Shane, that somebody write a newspaper article about this, just to give the idea out to the public that the town is doing this, it's coming our way, just sort of make people start thinking about it and.
yeah, and so from a process standpoint, like, would it make sense for us to get some numbers from Shane, get some experience with this, right? And then I think I'm a little concerned about doing anything without getting the select board's buy-in, right? That
Right.
we're, and I know they care about it. I don't mean to insinuate that. I just mean in terms of the cost versus benefit kind of stuff, right?
right.
So maybe, that sounds like a great idea, but maybe we should wait until after we get some numbers together for the
Yeah,
select board.
definitely.
You think that makes sense?
Although it could also be a good way to get people to keep their eye open for,
Warning and thinking about it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Just say
and
that
like
we're looking into it and we.
put an
come up
illustration
with
of what is an emerald ash borer.
right.
And,
Well,
you know,
that stuff all exists.
I know, but if an article, I mean, stuff exists about everything. If you want to bring people's attention to it, you just
Yeah,
don't wait for them to look for it.
yeah, no, but I think it's up to you to figure out the timing of it, but at least publicize it so that it's not a big surprise to people when, when it's
Also, we'd
in
like
their
to know when
yard
it
or
is.
whatever.
On that. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut across, but if you wanted some help putting that together.
Well, I'm gonna just be honest with everybody. I don't want to own this, okay?
Uh-oh.
I'm okay working with Shane, but I don't want to own it. I mean, so we gotta
We
all
all
do
have
it
to
together.
put something
It's
into
it's too big for,
But
and,
if you start with the original
I-
scope of it, is it something you could do to start it? or-
well, I think that, I'm just thinking.
Maybe we can all take little pieces of it and do our own do some research, and we can come up with something.
To,
together.
it's inevitable it's going to get discovered here, right? Which is very unfortunate, but it's going to happen. And usually it gets discovered by an arborist. That's what Shane
Oh.
mentioned.
Mhm.
It gets discovered, they have traps. The Maine Forestry Service has traps located all over the place where they trap and they look for emerald ash borers and yada, yada, yada. So, but I'm just, yeah, that sounds great. I just don't want to create hysteria either. If there's,
Right.
you know, if there's, it would be nice to say, I mean, I'm just being honest. We're doing more than looking into it. It would be nice to say, here's what we're doing about it. We've got this report. We assessed these trees. We put together some numbers for the select board to look at the overall cost. And the numbers, by the way, will not only include what it would cost to treat, but what it would cost to remove trees, right? That needs to be part of the whole package. Because one way or the other, it's going to cost something, right? Whether you do it, don't do anything, because the trees have to be removed if they get infected, and that's really expensive. It's a lot more expensive than the
So,
treatment.
well, just hypothetically again, what happens if a homeowner is informed of a tree in their yard, or is aware that there's a tree in their yard that has emerald ash borer, but they've decided they're not going to do anything about it?
You mean on their property?
Yes.
I don't say how we have any jurisdiction over that. I mean, I don't know.
Is the state involved in this at all, or
I don't know.
the Maine Forestry Service? Like, is there an 800 number, or?
Oh, you mean to contact them?
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
or like if somebody
You
discovered it.
talk to an arborist. I
So
mean, you
so-
could. That's a good question, Cynthia, and I don't know the answer. I mean, I don't know.
Would you recommend like a subcommittee or something of people to take different pieces of this?
Definitely.
Okay.
I also think that we could all just maybe take an hour between now and next month or something, where we all do research. Maybe we can divide up like, I don't know, so that it's not all falling on you, Brian. And we all should know more about this because it's massive.
Well, it can't fall on me. I honestly, I don't have the bandwidth.
I
to-
know, it's too big.
Well, I mean, having that guy come to talk to us would be,
Helpful.
yeah.
can you make a list of like the stuff you need you need help with, and then send it to us?
Well, I'm good with, here's what
Sam's really good at this.
And
Here-
have like a little project management situation.
here's what
you
here-
do this, and you do that. and you do-
What I would suggest is the following. I'd suggest we have a subcommittee, and the subcommittee comes up with the ideas of what it is we need to, it's a think tank, okay?
Yeah.
I don't even know, I mean, there's a bunch of, I put some things on here, for example, like, how do we advise the community? We need to provide cost estimates to the select board. Who do we use how do we get professional assistance? Do we use the Maine Forestry Service, which sounds like a good idea to me? They have a lot of resources on their website. I checked those, and those are, anybody can read them.
Mhm.
I went and looked at videotapes from the state of Michigan, from the state of Vermont, on how they've dealt with emerald ash borers. Most of those are not community-based programs.
Right, they're
Those are forestry programs.
Right.
Like, how do you deal with it in the state of Michigan where you get this,
Yeah, and Vermont is doing that too.
yeah, and so they have different strategies, and, and they're really interesting, but they're not really relevant to a community like the village of Camden, right?
Yeah, I did a whole webinar on that, and it was like,
It
that
was,
not useful at all. Now I'm just on another mailing list.
Yeah, it was really interesting. So, but I think we need to just come up with let's come up with some, who wants to be on the subcommittee?
I think all of us should answer.
All right,
Uh-huh.
that's what I kind of think too.
So it's
And
one,
we
two,
we
three.
don't have to deal with that as part of this meeting. We could
Okay.
meet offline. We could even do it like,
Yeah.
like the way we did that, the way we did that press release for them, I thought that was beautiful teamwork, right? Just like bing, 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 got it together. Samantha did a great job putting this straw pony together, blah, blah, blah. It was great. Amazing. Well, so it ought to, I think, start with, I got the ball with Shane, okay? I'm good with, and if somebody wants to come with me or us, you're more than welcome to do it. But it's
I would
going
like
to
to
be
try.
riding around in a vehicle. We're not going to be walking, right?
Mhm.
Cynthia, you interested?
Yeah, I've been saying that all along.
Well, I know you have, but I'm talking about, by the way, if somebody wants to go out on the street and survey the ash trees, they don't necessarily need me to do it. I just don't have the,
Well, I mean, we don't want to duplicate efforts.
right.
I
I
don't
think-
really know what that means, like what the,
Yeah, I'm not good at
but
identifying it.
it doesn't.
See if the
mean-
tree's still there, I think.
They're already identified.
Well,
It's
how do you know
basically-
what- I don't know what an ash tree, I can't tell an ash tree.
Well, I can't, so I'm good with that.
Oh,
But I'm not an expert either. I can't tell the difference between, maybe a little bit of brown ash tree and a green ash tree, but most of these are
Yeah.
in a white ash tree. But
It's the
they're
brown
very,
that is really infected though, right? Or all the ash trees?
well, the brown ash trees tend to be in swampy areas and they're not typically in the, around the village area. But,
And the white and the green are
but
also,
Luis has already done all that.
okay.
Stephen, do you want to be on the subcommittee or are you?
Well, I think this
We're all in the
reads,
subcommittee.
We're all on the sub. Well, I want to make. I don't want to put Steve
it
down.
seems
if
to me
you
that
want-
what we need to put out in this press release has already been said here today, minus some more closely accurate figures on inoculating or tree removal. And I would just say, the Conservation Commission's on this, we're looking into it, and we're gonna come up with some numbers to recommend for the select board.
Yeah,
And we could put it all out together if to get the prices, maybe talk to 3 people who do this and get an average in there, and then you would know about where we are, and this is what it's gonna cost, and
but I don't have any of those numbers yet.
It's
You
usually-
have one
it's- it's
set.
usually- it's-
No, I
it's
don't.
by-
Oh,
I don't have any set.
well,
I have no numbers. And the
Yeah,
other
but
thing-
anyways, we could just
we
draft.
don't
a press
really have to
release.
know at this point what the
Later.
numbers are. Just say there's gonna be a cost associated with inoculating trees and removing trees, and inoculating trees is probably gonna
I'm
be a
just
lot
being
cheaper.
honest again. I'd be real careful with that because you're going to create more questions than we have answers for. I would be cautious about doing that until I was prepared to have the answers because people are going to ask us, so how much is it going to? Well, I don't know yet. Well,
Okay,
I want to know.
well, then
I-
say we call 3 people who do this and get an average price for each one.
But it's a lot more complicated than that because it's not just treating the tree. It's treating the tree. Does it need fertilizer? Does it need to be watered in before you treat it? What's its time, depending on the season? I'm not trying to overcomplicate this. I'm just trying to say, and the other thing is I don't want to get into the tree removal flinch either because that's scary. People are going to say, oh, you want us to remove our trees? No, we don't want you to. We need data.
Those are options. They aren't. this
Well,
is gonna
there are
happen.
options, but I also think it needs to be addressed thoughtfully and judiciously in a way that it isn't, it's done in a way where there's data behind it that people can rally behind
Okay,
and feel good about
okay.
without feeling like,
Panic.
what
I
are
read an
you?
article in the paper about Bangor. They've got a University of Maine, I think, graduate student is doing their plan for this. And I may be
Right.
wrong, but she recommends removing a lot more trees than they're gonna try to save.
Sounds like a great discussion item for the subcommittee. What do you think?
I think so.
Subcommittee is everybody on the committee.
You're on the subcommittee. It's done.
You're gonna have to do some research, so either you go to the library and get books or.
Well, my
whatever.
research, I'll go home and search
So
on
do you-
YouTube.
So the
Emerald ash
subcommittee
borer, and
could
that's all
create
I'll
a
know.
plan for this and a timeline.
Yeah, I
maybe.
think what we
Is
need,
that how, what would be helpful to get it off the
we
ground?
need some action items, okay? What are our action items and what's?
Get that guy
what-
to come
What
to our next
timelines?
meeting.
Yep.
Can you start that? Because, you mentioned 3 already, right?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. And
But
then-
they're my action items. But
But-
when I send
but
them to
share
you
them, and
guys,
then we'll- and
they
people-
need to be like
Right.
more action items. If you guys want to add, that's great. And this is going to take time. It's not going to happen in 3 weeks.
Right.
It's going to take probably months to get this all done, right?
Yeah.
So, and I think that, I think that, to me, I mean, this is an extraordinarily important, maybe one of the most important things the Conservation Commission in Camden has ever had to address, honestly. So I take this extremely seriously,
Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why I'm being, I know you can sense in me some caution, some conservatism, I'm trying to be very thoughtful, careful about the way we roll this thing out so that it's done in a way that represents the best interests of the community. And I think one of the best things we all could do too is just read stuff. Go to the Maine Department of Forestry website. Look at the Emerald Ash Borer information. All this stuff's there. You don't need, you can go, you can find it in 5 minutes. If
Just
you're,
you
go-
EAB, University of Maine, it's got tons of
Univer-
links.
yeah, I mean, I can send you some links, but I don't think you really need me to do that. I mean, there are,
Kentucky has in Kentucky, they've been experimenting with a parasitoid, I don't know if that's saying it right, wasp that helps control emerald ash borer. That's still not sure how well it's working, but.
I think this is,
It's innovative.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, that's been effective in some other, tree diseases and plant diseases around the country, so they're doing a lot more work on that.
Mhm.
And I don't have Paris.
we need, okay, I'm just gonna be honest again. Here, a lot of things we deal with, we're doers, okay? We go do look at the storm water, we look for stuff, we observe stuff, we make observations, we record data. This is a thinker one and a doer. I think we need to be thinkers with this too. And what that means is anybody who wants to get involved in this needs to have your eyes open, be thinking about what's the impact. Look, guys, I'm not trying to be condescending or anything at all. You guys are great. But this is so important that we need to be thinking ahead of time about every single thing we do. I feel like this has to be a surgical approach and not just like, it's got to be way more than just looking at trees. It's got to be talking to people, getting educated, we're going to be walking around. People know who we are and they're going to be asking us questions. I want to have answers. I don't want to have somebody ask me, so what do you think about the emerald ash borer? And say, I don't know. I mean,
See, it's bad and we got to get rid of it.
yeah, well,
You can
And
say,
this is how you do it.
How do you guys feel about what I just said?
I agree. I think all of us have to be educated on this and understand, how it affects the trees.
Yep.
How it can be treated, the pros and cons of treating versus taking down,
Right,
the consequences of doing nothing.
yeah,
And then
exactly.
also, we should be educating ourselves on what other communities have done. I mean, how forests get managed is maybe not as same as how
No.
is the least of it, because we don't,
Right,
although we live so much practically in a forest, but
right,
we that's not in our control because we're advisors to the town or
right.
the village and town trees. But a lot of communities do, help people identify their ash trees and whether they have it, and sometimes offer, even if it's not in the right of way, even offer replacement trees or a
Yeah.
discount or something
Right.
for,
oh yeah, and that
Oh,
Beatty brought that
Yeah,
up. Did you
Beatty
see
brought that up to me yesterday. Make sure they talk about replacement trees.
Right,
Shade trees.
offering
Shade
people who
tree.
want to cut
Exactly.
theirs down.
In that case, it probably wouldn't necessarily be the normal shade tree program, which we have which is just on the town right away, but we're talking about maybe in people's yards. So we have to explore how that works and has worked in other communities and what would be the cost involved and stuff like that. But
Right.
Okay, so are there different ways of treating it, or is it pretty much standard? They've got to stuff they put into the tree, or is it a lot
Yes,
of
there
experimentals
are
going
different
around?
ways of treating trees. There's a drench method. The drench method, you pour the pesticide around the root, around the root crown of the tree. Then there's the stem injection method, which is a systemic pesticide. It's a different one. There's downsides and upsides. The downside of the drench method is that it's not selective. It goes everything around it, including rhododendrons and blah, blah, blah. What happens too is there's pollination issues with bees. Because if the native flowering plants, the pesticide doesn't kill the plant, but it gets into the pollen and it can kill insects and it can kill invertebrates.
So it sounds like the injection method is the way to go, because there's too many
It is
problems.
if you're treating one tree. Now, if you've got a whole forest, see, that's where it all comes in. You might want to use the
Not gonna have
drench
a whole
method.
forest of just ash trees.
Yes, a
Well-
grove. No,
Well, there
but
are
I mean,
other
I'm
things
talking
there.
about, what, excuse me?
Well, it's rare that you'll find nothing but ash trees that growing in some places. Got to be other stuff. And if you're worried about killing other stuff by dumping it around the trees, then you don't do that. You have to inject them all. It sounds to me like we have pretty much all the
Have you ever
information.
injected a tree?
What?
Have you
Yeah,
ever injected-
it's
I have
not
no
that-
idea how to test them. I haven't been out with you.
Well, how
Inject
you-
the tree.
When you inject a tree, basically you have to take a drill.
Yeah.
And drill all these little holes in the thing, and then you put a little.
It's expensive to, yeah,
It's
whatever,
time-consuming
like I
and
said.
expensive. And then you have to put this medicine in them, but you have to drill a hole a specific length. It's not the easiest thing.
To test
So-
if it's there.
No,
No,
To-
to
to
inject
put
the
the stuff in,
to put
insecticide
the
into the
insecticide
tree.
in there, and you have to do it at a very specific time when the sap is running and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah,
So it's-
I
it's
understand
not-
all
it's-
that,
it's
but
just-
I don't see where that relates to us letting
Okay.
we're not the ones who are gonna
But
do
you
it.
asked the
We're gonna
question,
provide
are there
the,
different ways to treat a
yeah,
tree?
and there are.
And I
And it
answered
sounds
your
like the
question.
second one is, awful.
Well, in certain circumstances, they're both like used different ways. Shane walked me through this, right?
Yeah.
I'm not an expert, so I'm not qualified to say which
I'm not
method.
saying we need to be experts.
But
We
what
just
we-
need to know that there are ways to do it. And, we don't have to be the experts in how it's done.
But you asked me a question and I answered your question.
Yeah, it was a
Okay.
yes or no.
So I think
No,
what,
and it's yes, there are. And it's like,
It sounds like
So-
there's two.
yeah, right. So, and then the decision as to which method needs to be chosen needs to be based on a number of factors, and it needs to be made by a professional.
Right,
And I'm not a professional,
right.
and you're not a professional.
No.
so he's
No
just
offense
At
talking
this
about,
point, we don't need,
he's
at this
talking,
point, we're
about-
just trying to let the people know that it's a problem.
Right.
right.
We're watching it. There
And,
are, there
and
are ways
give
to
them some
attack it.
assurance that it
Yeah,
is
and
solvable
Right.
and to some degree.
Exactly.
it's a warning, I
Right.
would say. And we're gonna come
Well,
up
we do
with,
have to educate yourself.
and
Like,
it-
you personally should know what are the methods to treat them yourself. So you can explain. We should all know each one of them and the pros and cons.
Exactly.
hey, now I know. And I could say, yeah, you can dump stuff around a tree, but that'll probably kill everything around it. And if you got a tree out in the
It
field,
won't kill it.
and that's
It
the
won't
only-
kill vegetation. It'll only kill the insects.
well, it'll
Okay.
kill stuff we
So-
don't want to kill.
Maybe we should wait until the professional guy comes
We
and
get
talks
a-
to us instead of
we get a
pressuring
professional
Brian.
I thought that was going to happen today. From Beatty said, I
No.
thought that was going to happen
No.
today.
No, she didn't know. She just wanted to make
She
sure.
said it was
that-
going to be all about emerald ash borers. I said, oh, we're going to be taught about it today.
Well, we are
Well,
talking.
we are.
about
Well, we aren't being taught by someone who knows.
Well,
Well,
and then I
we're
don't,
developing a strategy
it. We're
to,
just
right.
talking about developing a strategy.
yeah.
Yeah,
It sounds
exactly.
like we're making it way too
And our
complicated
focus
at
is-
our stage.
Right. And our
Yes, I
focus
think-
is going to be the village area and the trees in Louisa Crane's report to start, right?
That's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, I
Not
think
on
what
everything.
what you said well is that we have to do this carefully and as a strategy, have parts to it because it's complicated
Yeah,
and
it
we're
can
just
get,
at the beginning. So I think
Yep.
having somebody talk to us would be great,
It
but
can
we should
get-
also all educate ourselves.
Yeah.
So we can be advocates for it, the tree.
exactly. Right. Sam, you had a question.
Yes.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, clearly it's one of those things that's also kind of an emotional issue. People have opinions about it. We're not all gonna have the same level of understanding,
Yeah.
ability to understand. Some of us will require more or less education, and we need to make space for that. So I think a subcommittee is a really good idea.
We
And
have a
also-
subcommittee, but we're all on it.
We're all on it. Subcommittee.
Yeah, I think
But-
that makes sense. We're all on it.
I was gonna ask about July because sometimes summer meetings are difficult for people to attend, and I was curious if if we want to ask Shane to the next meeting, would that be the July meeting or not? And B, does it make more
Right.
sense? I don't know his schedule, but I assume that
He
he's
was
pretty busy.
extraordinarily open to do whatever. He said, I'm, how he put it was, I thought, extremely thoughtful. He said, I have control over my time
Okay,
because he has people who do the tree work.
yeah.
And I'm available pretty much whenever you guys need me.
Okay.
How
so
many-
maybe
how
just
many
an
of us-
FYI.
FYI, our next meeting is July 2nd, and I was just thinking that since that's a holiday weekend, it might
It's
might
probably
lose some
not good.
people.
Yeah,
Is that maybe
That's-
we could aim for the week before, which is Wednesday, the 25th? If he could do it,
Of June.
of June, unless you want to wait another week. and go to
So have
July.
our meeting that day instead.
Yeah, I'm just.
Yeah.
Is it the week before?
Yeah, that would be the week before.
I can check with him.
Okay, and if other people could, because, we might.
I don't know. I might be out of town.
July's gonna be June what?
Otherwise, the next is, Wednesday, the 9th.
How many people could not make it on the 2nd?
I can't,
Right.
it's not gonna work for me either. I agree with Barb. I mean, you
Really?
guys can have the meeting without me, but I
No,
can't.
no.
No, what?
I'm sure that's not gonna work.
I was also going to ask if you would be interested in joining us sometimes. If there are any additional committee meetings outside of this
I'm sure he would be happy to do
Oh.
that.
instead or in
Right.
addition to. I mean, I don't want to
Yeah.
commit him to anything.
No, I know, but I think,
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Well, why don't you check with him, and we
Yeah.
throw around some dates on email, what will work for us. Someone will call Stephen, apparently.
okay,
I think we should also have Dave involved in this, don't you think?
Of course.
yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Dave's how we got linked up.
And he knows a
with
lot,
Shane.
and plus he's the
Yep.
official town tree person,
right.
right?
Oh, definitely. He has to be on the subcommittee.
Yeah.
Well,
Important.
he's gonna be the recipient of pretty much whatever we
Right.
recommend, right?
Right.
And I want to say one other thing too, which is sounds kind of harsh, but it's exactly the way I feel. Opinions are great, but we need data, facts, and science behind this. Because this thing, to me, if we don't, it can just spiral, and I don't want to see that happen. People are going to get emotional. People are going to like, well, so, for example, I think if we say something, we need to be all confident that we can back it up with some data, some like knowledgeable information based on what research we've done as a team, right? Or we recommend as a team. You know what?
Maybe that would be a good first task, is to have a fact sheet developed.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
That's
gonna
a
look at-
really good
Like,
idea.
like,
That's what I'm saying.
we could
I
all
think
come together and
we all-
have like a sheet
That's why I was gonna
internally.
make little assignments, like,
Yes,
you work on this, I'll work on this, you work on
Yep.
that.
Right.
Steve, you're
Good.
gonna work on the different varieties of ways to treat this scientifically, not just throw stuff on there or, learn
And
about it. Okay, that's your job. You find things on YouTube.
Yeah, that's the only way I
Go to
can.
Since you don't have email, I can't tell you, so you're doing that one, and then I'll spread it around.
Well, do you want to?
And if we each come up, take a little bite, that just takes an hour of our time in the
Yeah.
next couple of weeks, and then we come up with our fact sheets and we'll work on it together, and then we'll have a little bit more knowledge.
that's a good idea, Barb.
So can I take, looking into what the Maine Forest Service will provide?
Sure.
Okay. I hosey that. Can we also, at least narrow down what we're shooting for a date for subcommittee meeting? Like what week or whatever?
sure.
Because my schedule fills up with a lot of random things.
I also think we should consider waiting to assign things out until subcommittee meets.
Oh, okay.
Just because.
No, I'm just talking about little basic stuff, just the basics.
Yeah.
Right now, we're just talking about there's a little bit more information than we have now.
It's not a,
Like I've learned that what most towns do is this, and this, and one or two towns do D and E.
Well, we could bring all
I mean, that's
that
all.
informally to the
Right, just
subcommittee.
Yeah.
kind of, I'm not talking about
I
writing.
have to
paper.
say, I think Sam is a genius about being the orchestra leader about this in terms of getting everybody's input together and making it work as a team. I know I'm volunteering you for this, but
What
it's
she's really good
gonna,
about.
because
you.
otherwise it'll be people replicating
Well,
stuff.
that's what I'm just trying, I'm
And
saying.
so
Totally.
maybe for the first meeting, we could all verse ourselves and then we can, taking your lead, figure out a way to organize it so that we're all
Right.
using our time.
Great.
But I don't want to
effectively.
waste a month before we even, until then, I just want us to.
No,
get
that
going
makes
on
sense.
something.
That's good. I agree with you, Kathleen. Sam's a genius.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a way of
Put on the
making her.
record, wow.
I mean, if
Can we
you don't,
talk to
if
one
you
of
don't want
your-
to do that, but you really, it was so helpful with the poetry thing. And it's so,
That's kind of you.
because everybody's volunteering and, you know, you want to like streamline it. So
Yeah.
we're all working together with
Even
our
just
own
having like
piece.
somebody who's
So-
who's in
Yeah.
charge of it.
So, and I'm going to say something else. If you have a question, go find an answer. Like, well, how do you treat, how do municipalities deal with non-neighborhood situations? Try to find some information about it. If you have a question as an individual, go get an answer.
Do your own research.
Do your own research
Oh,
and then
leave
help
you
us.
alone.
What's it? No, I mean,
No.
no,
No,
I'm
it's
always-
like, that's good. We should all
you should,
self-educate ourselves.
you know,
That's
it's
what I'm trying to say.
exactly.
Just-
It's just,
learn
you
a little
know,
more than we know now.
Exactly.
yeah, educate yourself. It's like,
About the
wow,
17th.
how do they do that? Well, go find out. It's not that hard to find out because there's a ton of information. And in spite of how complex this situation is, it's encapsulated. It's like a situation. It's not there's a lot of knowns. There's a lot of experience with this. There's a lot of treatment options. It's not doom and gloom. It's not the end of the world. So we have like the beech leaf disease. That's a whole different situation.
That is doom and gloom.
Because people just don't know. They don't know how it's spread. They have speculation so the state's got a lot of control over this. There's a ton of information available. So we got a lot going for us. It's
Okay.
just,
Yeah, it's all there.
How do
We
people,
just have to know it.
how do
We have
people,
to have it on the tip of our tongue.
how do people feel about the 17th of June for a,
Would it be possible to ask people to look at 16, 17, 18? Just
Okay.
give people multiple
Great.
dates?
Yep.
I can put
I
that in
can't
the email.
do that
Okay.
day. I mean, the week of the 16th is really tough for me.
Okay.
What about the next week?
well, then
The following week
Samantha's
is,
going to be gone.
Yeah, I think I'm in Baltimore. I'm not sure yet. I might be here. I know it's not helpful, but
That's right. You're going to be sending out the emails, so you'll know.
it's a good point.
Or like, so it's
Is next week too
It's
early
a
for people?
early-
yeah, I'm busy like Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday next week. I'm involved with just so you guys know, I'm involved with the Knox-Lincoln County Soil and Water Conservation District. We've got a pollinator party on Friday, which is really going to be fun at Crest.
Nice.
I've got 2 days of invasive plant surveys next week in Rockland, which is really fun. But, so I've got some stuff going on there, which is cool. But I mean, so it's kind of, the week of the 17th, I got to go down to Massachusetts, which is great because my granddaughter's graduation.
Excellent.
The week of the 23rd is pretty good for me.
but
She might
Sam
be
is-
in Baltimore. That's the problem.
Is
Well,
is the
We
20?
can't do it without her.
pick a date.
Check your date, Sam, and then,
And then
So
send
now.
something out?
Sorry, what?
why don't you check your work schedule and throw something out? maybe
Yeah.
The next 24 hours?
It's just the, well, you're kind of more important than me here.
No, I'm not.
What are like 3
That's
dates?
not true.
Well, okay, fine. What are 3 dates that work for you? So maybe we can align and then throw
Well,
out.
the week of the 23rd, you're gone, right? Is
She's
that,
not sure, but she thinks.
well, that's definitely a possibility.
Okay,
Um,
that's fine. That's good information still. How
yeah,
about, are weekends out for you or for people?
possibility.
I could possibly do
I
it.
mean, like, Friday the 13th,
Oof.
I know
I'm
that's
just
a bad.
kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
That's
kidding.
a
I'm
bad vibe, right?
No, I'm fine.
That could be a
If it works.
possibility.
I could,
That's next week.
that's Friday
Yep.
the 13th. I could probably do that.
Oh, I'll be gone. Sorry,
Okay.
I'm doing the trek across me.
How about Friday the 20th?
I can do that.
Want to try that?
I have a,
Um,
I have a thing at 10, but it won't take too long
We
and
do
I
it
can
in the
like catch up.
afternoon. If that, I could do it.
What about Sunday the 8th?
That's my birthday.
Birthday.
Friday the
Birthday?
8th is this,
Fourth of July weekend.
this,
June.
Oh,
Beginning of
June?
no,
June 8th?
no, I'm
No,
busy.
it's July 8th, I can't do.
This weekend?
Yeah, no, I'm busy
Oh,
on
this
Sunday.
weekend. What about
It's when
Friday,
we-
what
yeah.
about June 20th? Is that,
To me?
how about you?
That's Friday the 20th.
You, okay, so can you do June
I'm
20th?
sorry,
Friday
I'm
the
out of
20th.
I'm sorry, I'm out of town.
Okay.
Sorry.
She's out of town.
Yeah, it's tough.
Could you do one of those,
I think
you
the
know,
13th.
Google
Wait, who
things
couldn't do the
about,
13th? You?
Sam, could you send everybody a
can-
Google
I
thing
could
about, you know? when
Do
you
the
pick
13th.
dates on the
That's
meeting,
like-
Or no, is that complicated to do?
I think we're gonna have to
You
just
just
divide and
send out,
conquer
like-
too, right?
To 5 people, what date can you pick?
But wait,
Like a Google form.
Yeah.
but what did we say about the 13th? I didn't hear anybody
I
say,
can't do it,
oh,
and-
you
And
can't.
Barb can't do it either.
I might be able to. I don't know. I've never done.
So we're looking at what,
I
a couple
participated,
hours,
but
right?
I've never set it
Yeah.
up.
And the 20th, refresh my memory, you can't do that.
Would we want to have like,
How about the 28th? Is it- Or the 27th, I should say. of June.
yeah, I mean, the week, well, Sam has got her gig going that week, right?
Yeah, she's going away. So,
I'm a maybe for that day. Yeah.
about a week from today.
Is the
Uh,
13th?
No, you
I
can't.
can't.
I
I
can't
got
Ryan
do
the-
that,
can't.
Barb can't do it.
Well, I mean, Brian's already put in a ton of time on this. Maybe we could just be more like, we'll do our turn and then we'll get together the next time.
I look forward to working with you guys on this, I'll tell you. I'm so glad everybody else is gonna be engaged too.
We have to. It's too important not to be.
It is, it's really important. So why don't, the 13th, the 20th, the 27th, all work for me, but they don't work, 13th doesn't work for Kathleen.
And Barb,
13th is not for me, but-
Doesn't work for Barb. The 20th doesn't work for
Sam.
Sam.
Yeah.
The
uh,
27th doesn't work for,
Sam in
Sam.
Baltimore.
I might be able to figure that out. It might be
You-
like
you
a
know
Zoom
what?
thing or something
Why
like
don't
that.
we-
Saturday, the 28th, would that be better for you?
I mean, I could do that. Weekends are always easier for me because I don't have to take time off work. So,
Yeah,
but why don't we look at the week of the 23rd maybe? How's that?
that's good. If you could look at your schedule that week.
Yeah. and
I know
that's-
I have- I have company at some point there, but I'm not sure when it is.
So what I'm gonna do too is I'm gonna put down a bullet list of not necessarily related and not in any specific order of importance, sound bites
Great,
that I just like, poof. I used to do
like
this.
a brain dump. kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I used to do this all the time in work because it helped me. It does not organize your thoughts. It just gets them down on paper. And then you can just like, it's just like a scattergram. And then you just can move things around. It helps me, you know, try to get things out of here and put them here. So then we can look at things and you guys, I'll send them to you guys before the meeting.
Great.
You guys can comment any way you want. You can say, what the hell were you thinking about that for? That's fine with me. I'm good with that. But is that okay?
Yeah,
Perfect.
that'd be really helpful,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah,
Just to
okay.
get the ball rolling.
Yeah. Like, do we want to talk to the select board about offering residents some incentives? Do we want to, I mean, like all kinds of stuff. But, I don't know.
No.
Is that good?
That's
That sounds
great.
good, thank you.
This is a random, this is called a random sequential, a random concrete personality here with it. Like, what were you thinking?
Is that's a type?
Yeah, right, there's concrete sequential, random, sequential,
you're sending
random
out,
concrete, there's
Oh,
days
wow.
of the week.
personality
It
stuff.
starts with 23rd, and
Um,
we'll choose from them.
I think so.
Okay.
Something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
because but that's the week you're not going to be here. Shit.
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I can look at my schedule and maybe join on Zoom or something, even if
Okay.
I'm out of town. That's a possibility. And we need to make sure the room's available from Janice, I think, right? So
Yeah.
she would
Well, we'd
be.
have to meet somewhere else.
Or we can meet at the bagel place.
Yeah, but then
Okay.
she couldn't do Zoom. Oh, yeah. Well, I guess you could somehow.
I can,
Yeah, we can.
You have a Zoom account?
I can have, yeah, Joanne has a Zoom account, my wife
Okay,
has a
great.
Zoom account. Although we could do 45 minutes for free or whatever it is, but I have a Zoom account.
I'm free the second half of that week, but not the first, just FYI.
Yeah. Something we talk about in my job a lot, which I really love, is falling in love with the problem, which I feel like might be part of our work here, which is just like, feels weird, but sometimes you just have to spend like 90% of your time on the problem before you can even start to talk about
Yeah.
solutions.
Right,
Might be a nice
that's a good way to think of it.
anchor here.
That's a really good way to think of it. Yep, you gotta identify the problem before you can identify the solutions, right?
Yeah, and kind of turn it over and really understand it from all
Kick it
sides
around,
and
look at it from different angles.
That's what you do when you fall in love with something. Kick it around, look at it from different angles.
said
That would be a weird honeymoon, kicking it around.
I don't even want to know anymore.
Oh, funny.
Yeah, I think fortunately or unfortunately, we're all gonna have to become quasi-experts at this.
Mhm.
Or another way of looking at it is know what you don't know
Yeah,
and feel comfortable with that and not be afraid to say, I don't know the answer to that question.
yeah,
But not like, I'm not saying we would specifically do this, but it drives me nuts when people get into the opinions and the, like, well, they're not going to be helpful with this. We need facts or you don't know the answer, but there's no in between condition, right? It's either I know the answer or I don't, because this is really important, right?
Yes.
And we're going to be, I think, we have the chance to be real leaders in this town with this particular program, and that to me is really exciting. We can really help people out a lot. Try to come to grips with it, trying to understand it, trying to understand the solutions, trying to steer them in the right direction, which is great, right? That's what we should be doing, right?
yeah.
All right, so I'm going to do you're going to
I'll send out dates.
look at the dates.
Yep.
We're all one subcommittee, right?
Yes,
Right?
we're all on it.
I'm
We
going
have
to
a
put,
small enough committee as it is, so. we
With-
just-
Dave,
I've got to
yes.
get back to Shane about the going around and doing the survey. I own that. And I'll try to do it as soon as I can. It depends on his schedule.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to put together some sound bites in no specific order of importance. And I'll get you those by, what's today?
The 4th of June.
I'll get you those in a couple of days.
I'd go around with you with Shane if nobody else wants to. I don't want you to fill up a freaking carload of people and drive them around. But
What can
I just don't go around and, talk with them.
Good. I think that would be good, Steve. I need to get your phone number, by the way. I don't have it.
It's a pen right there. 338
207?
21. Yeah, I never give that.
Well, I have.
338 2176.
238 2176.
And I don't have any, I have an answering machine, It's not my voice, so don't be scared to dial the wrong number. Beatty did that the first time she called.
That's okay. Good.
And leave me your number if I'm not there.
Okay, and then I'll see what its schedule is. And we'll take it from there.
Okay, I'm free most of the time. And most things I do are like real early in the morning.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Brian, can I have your number again?
Sure. Well, I'll write it, 508-341-0759.
I know I have that somewhere.
Okay, well, it's only 10 of 2.
I just have one other thing that is related to a more fun topic.
We don't want to have fun. We need to.
Well, maybe it's not fun.
We can make it painful.
Don't worry. We'll make it tough on you.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Yeah, right.
I just, in thinking about ideas for next year for poetry, one thing, and Sam, you might have some ideas too. One thing that I had mentioned earlier is to try and get the brochure redone.
Hmm.
That's pretty odd. It's pretty, is that the one?
It's the heritage trees. And somebody was saying it wasn't, there's only one
Well, there's a couple trees on it that aren't here.
that don't exist, right?
Yeah, Barb and
to
I
do it-
did that.
Right, to do, oh, you did, okay, good. So to do an update on it and have it reprinted, a new one,
There's a whole other side of town.
that wasn't, like over by C Street, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That is not in that I think Nancy planned on putting in there, and she probably has the information, but
Right. So the idea is to get this redone and develop a tree heritage program that would potentially give tree tours. And
that's a really good
then
idea.
we could use that as the week of Arbor Day and also maybe train high school students to give tree tours or have it as a community effort.
Yeah,
And then have like a heritage tree ceremony at poetry and include that as have this built into another aspect of the poetry.
it'd be fun to have some history on some of these trees too,
Yeah, definitely.
right? Like, yeah,
Or,
that's,
or like record people's stories of their connection to a
yeah,
specific tree, like the Lake
Right.
Beach tree.
Oh,
or-
wow.
But anyway, this would be one of this is going to take some time to do this.
Yeah.
And also, I don't want to just go ahead and do this on my own without talking to you guys and
Yeah.
possibly if anybody wants to join me, I'm going to get my son-in-law to help me go around and I can add on if you would share what you did already. Just if the Conservation Committee is interested in giving feedback as we develop the basic information and the layout and the trees.
Mhm.
And then we have to figure out how to pay for it, for the printing. But,
I think we can,
okay, maybe it can come out of that, the
Well,
fine fund, but also,
we
The
need
Arbor
to
Day,
talk to
the-
Audra about that.
Okay.
I think she
it
can,
might be, like a couple of $1,000s, I think, if it's color. But we can also apply to the Arbor Day Foundation to
Oh.
develop more public programming
Yep.
around. They give out grants as well.
Hmm.
So,
yeah, cool. That's great.
And do you have any other thoughts about that?
We,
Sam, or-
I know that we recorded some like future ideas, but I don't have them immediately in front of me, but that's really good.
Yeah, and
Um,
it'll take, now we have almost like a year. So we have time to really do it again, well, and, to keep
Yeah.
people informed so that they can, give some input or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you like the idea of like heritage tree tourism?
Oh, my gosh. I think
That's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the thing the Arbor Day Foundation
Have
would
you ever
be
done that
interested.
Camden history tour they do on Friday
The
afternoon?
ghost walk?
Nope.
No? Oh, no. Have you?
Yeah.
Is it
it's-
good?
Yeah, it was a long time ago when I did it, but I mean, they met at their library at the Harbor Park and it was like 45 minutes long and it was narrated.
Yeah.
and
I've
walking.
seen them walking around.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I could see some kind of a tree/vegetation tour like that or something.
Yeah, and also, I mean, people
Like that.
feel differently about their trees when they know, oh, this is the 300-year-old tree, blah, blah, this is,
Yeah.
if they're educated about that, they're not so easy to
So
get the chainsaw out and do that sort of
are
stuff.
you looking
Exactly.
are you thinking it's going to be a walking tour? And
A
if
walking
so, how
tour.
many?
Plus, which would be
Self-guided or,
based, it could be self-guided through this,
Yeah.
or we could have people give tours,
Yeah.
like maybe during Arbor Day week or during the summer, as part of
Right.
the town stuff.
that
I'm
makes
just wondering
sense.
how long can people walk on one of those tours? How long?
Well, I
Hmm.
mean, they were like 45 minutes.
Yeah. Can you see?
Yeah,
Well-
I mean, I don't think it would
It
be
takes some
really
thought
extensive.
to make the route.
And then we could have forest bathing at the end too.
Gongs.
With gongs.
Goat yoga.
Gongs, yes.
You're gong obsessed.
Oh, down in the amphitheater because you're looking up.
Yeah, we can have.
I'll tell you that gong, you guys
That would
laugh.
work great.
But it worked.
You were totally right. You were 100% right.
I think we should do goat yoga too. No, seriously,
They eat trees,
the
right?
gong was really,
It
was
was.
perfect.
It was really nice.
Yeah.
It added a nice
Yeah.
mystique to
Now,
the.
he loved the idea, that guy, Jim Doble. He said we could borrow a gong again or do something like that, have some musical
Awesome.
part. So, great. Okay,
like that a
thanks. So
lot.
I'm going to start investigating this.
Yeah,
Okay.
Perfect.
sounds good.
Do you want to be on the agenda next?
Probably not, because I don't think I'm going to have enough time. to
Oh,
really
wait,
have
did we
something.
decide we aren't having a July?
25th.
Oh, July 25th?
No. Oh, so we were going
I
to
mean,
move the whole
June
meeting?
25th. But Sam's not going to be here, right?
Oh, that's
Wait,
for the
I thought
subcommittee.
that was.
I thought that was a
Subcommittee's a week from
subcommittee.
today.
No, we had talked about the meeting.
We haven't
the
figured out
next
the
Meeting is
subcommittee.
June 2nd, July 2nd.
Yeah.
And you said you can't.
Well, it's
Here.
going to be tough, but
That has to be canceled, that meeting, the
Yeah.
July meeting, so.
Oh,
Just to say, FYI, because so many people didn't show up.
Is there a world where we just do July 9th instead? Or is that?
I could do that. I could do the 9th. What about you?
for
July
this,
9th?
I-
Yeah.
for this full
It's-
meeting.
For a full meeting, not the subcommittee meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
No, that's a
July
fair
9th.
question.
Yeah, let's do
No,
July 9th.
I will not be here, but you can.
You won't do the
Life will
9th?
go
You're
I'm
not
gonna be in
gonna-
Canada.
All right.
They're gonna let
They're gonna let
you
you
in.
in?
I'm hoping they don't let me out.
Fair.
You said it, not me.
So it's July 9th officially.
The
Yeah,
same time.
let's do it July 9th.
Because I have to check with, we'll have to check with
Janice?
Janice to make sure, because I think he was, but if we do, they have a room upstairs, or we could always meet someplace else.
Yes.
We could meet at the Villager Cafe, which is.
Yeah, the problem is it needs to be like
Oh, good point.
It
video.
doesn't have to be, it usually is.
Really?
It's really noisy in there.
It
Those
is.
stupid machines.
Though,
In the Villager Cafe? Oh,
I
I
thought it
went
was
there for
pretty,
breakfast and I couldn't hear anybody talking.
I know the,
So much of
this
this.
is not, you're talking
Zoot
about Villager
is.
Cafe, not Zoot?
Yeah.
Why, really? Interesting.
They had the same kind
Well, I
of.
went in at 8 o'clock one day and there was nobody there. By the time I left an hour and a half later, it was packed and it was very noisy. And I've been in Zoots and that place is too echoey.
Who?
Yeah.
So I go to the Bagel Cafe.
Yeah, now.
Good
nobody's
choices around, definitely.
Yes.
I was just referencing, we did a poetry meeting at the Villager Cafe. It was all very democratic because it's owned by the paper and we're a civic.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great idea. I
Yeah.
So
was
the
excited
reason
about
we
it,
have to
but then I
meet
went
close
and I
by is
couldn't hear.
because of signal for this.
No. No, I think we have to meet probably here in order to do the Zoom hookup.
Okay.
So
yeah, and have it pre-recorded and blah, blah, blah.
unless it's an unofficial meeting, didn't we do that at one time? Like we had a meeting, but we didn't have quorum, so it wasn't official.
I don't know.
Wait, are we talking about the subcommittee meeting?
No,
No,
subcommittees.
the regular.
But we're still good with July 9th, right?
I'm good with July
We just need
9th.
to check with Janice. I can do that.
Okay.
I can see everybody. It's,
I'll check with her.
Okay, and I'll include the change to July 9th when when reaching out about the subcommittee meeting. Boy, is that gonna get confusing? Figure it out.
Mhm. Do your research.
Yeah, if you have a question, get it answered. So, what do you think of the meeting? It was a little intense, but I mean,
Wait, are we done?
I think, I mean, I'm done with this.
What can I, well, I shouldn't do this one.
I don't want to drag it out.
What? What?
Oh, nothing. I'll wait until after.
All right. Sounds serious.
I
So,
think it's good.
anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think I'm good.
All right,
I'll
so
I'll check with Janice if that's dates available the night.
so you're going
Oh,
to
you
check
will?
with
I
Janice.
will.
Okay.
I will.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
going to make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
30
Thank
minutes
you,
early,
Brian.
how about that?
We don't have Allison and Dave, so.
We're
That's
off
true.
for- Okay?
Not, I mean, it's not